Welcome to this edition of Pre-Internet Plane Spotting, brought to you by JetFlix. Hi guys, my name is Henry Tenby. If you're new to my channel, this is JetFlix TV. I'm an aviation enthusiast, historian, and videographer, and I've come across some neat old pictures taken from the old Taipei airport, Songshan airport, taken, I believe, in the late 1960s or early 1970s. There's some cool images here, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to share them with you. I hope you enjoy them. Well, here's a cool overview of the airport, Taipei's downtown airport, circa late 1960s. At the time, Uncle Sam maintained an overhaul facility for aircraft that were involved in the Vietnam conflict. And as you can see in the background, we've got several C-123 providers. It looks like there's also some DC-3 aircraft here. So they were very common. And also Uncle Sam ran military charters through, moving troops between Vietnam and the mainland with fuel stops and handovers of staff and crew and supplies at this particular airport. So yeah, very cool to see this. Of course, we've got Thai International operating a Sched service with a DC-8, home-based Air China, the 727-100. And in the very distance, it looks like there is possibly a Thai Air Force Hawker Siddeley 748. So without question, this was a fantastic airport to be visiting if you were a spotter in the late 1960s. This is a very nice shot of a Far Eastern Air Transport Caravelle. Both Far Eastern Air Transport and China Airlines operated a fleet of caravels in the late 1960s. FEAT also had Viscount 800s, and both the Viscounts and the caravels operated their regional services out of Taipei. And they were operating, I believe, short to medium haul routes as far as Hong Kong, Bangkok, into Japan, etc. And the caravels lasted, I believe, until around the mid-1970s. And here's the competitor airline, China Airlines. They were the flag carrier, I believe, government-owned, and this is one of their caravels at Taipei's downtown Songshan Airport in the late 1960s, operating a regional service. Again, notice Uncle Sam in the background there. We've got an OV-10 Bronco, two of them, and a C-117. Of course, Uncle Sam was always very welcome in Taipei, and that's most likely because of Chiang Kai-shek's close affiliation with the Americans and the American support of Chiang Kai-shek in mainland China. And of course, we don't need to go into that history here, but that long association, of course, remains through to this very day. Here we have a nice tight shot of a Malaysian Airlines System 737-200, an early airframe. Notice the engines. They've got the old blow-in doors on the forward part of the nacelles. Of course, these engines were upgraded very soon after the 737-200 went into revenue service in the late 60s, and most 737-100s and 200s were upgraded to the JT8D-9A engines, which did not require the presence of the blow-in doors. Making up a fabulous background, we've got a Far Eastern Air Transport Caravelle on the right-hand side of the frame, and on the left-hand side of the frame is a 707 engine, most certainly that belonging to Air Siam. They were a regular visitor. Thailand-based Air Siam operated at least 3 different 707-131 aircraft, including ISC, VGA, and VGC, between the late 1960s and early 1970s. This particular aircraft operated the route between Taipei and Bangkok and is seen here on the apron being serviced after arrival. And here we have a very nice side profile shot with the Thai writing on the starboard side of Air Siam 707-131 VGA. She's seen here at Kai Tak Airport in the early 1970s. Notice the fabulous background. There's a Cargolux CL-44 and a Thai International DC-8 and a JAL DC-8. They certainly were good times to be an aviation enthusiast. This absolutely immaculate Boeing 720 18351, is in the colors of the Taiwan Air Force. It was operated between, I believe, the late 1960s and the mid to late 1970s, and was most often used as the personal transport for Chiang Kai-shek. It is kept unbelievably shiny and beautiful because of its VIP status, and is seen here in this fabulous shot taken at London Heathrow Airport circa 1975. This aircraft remains in existence today, where it can be seen at the Taiwan Air Force Museum at Songshan in Taiwan. It's actually a 720-051B, which means it was formerly delivered brand new to Northwest Airlines back in the early 1960s. It's a beautiful piece, fantastic. I love 720s. Who doesn't? Are you a die-hard av geek who loves aviation videos? Welcome to JetFlix TV, where all the aviation action is. Stream and download hundreds of aircraft action videos on all your favorite devices. Sit back, relax, and start enjoying the best in aviation action movies exclusively from the crew at JetFlix TV. We will see you rampside.